Hi, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. We're so excited that you're here to celebrate with us. This is the grand opening of Fort Collins Walk and Wheel Skills Hub. And I just want to introduce someone who is integral in bringing this project to fruition, Tessa Grieger, the FC Bikes Program Manager.
All right, well, thank you, Jill, and thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. We're so excited to launch this project. Jill told me to keep my remarks to about 3 sentences, and I'm afraid that didn't happen, so I apologize in advance, but I'll go through this quickly. So, again, we are thrilled to be officially launching the Walk and Wheel Skills Hub tonight, which, as many of you may know, has roots that date back many years ago as a recommendation for a bicycle and pedestrian safety town. And this was through local advocates at that time. But today, this project has evolved into something much bigger and far-reaching across Fort Collins. Whenever I think about this project, I'm reminded of everything that makes this community and the people who live and work here so incredibly unique. The people and the partnerships that were involved in bringing this project to reality on what we thought was a shoestring budget have allowed us to create something that is truly innovative and world-class. I wish I had the time tonight to thank all of the individuals, organizations, and city departments involved in creating the Skills Hub, which I will say that almost every city department had a hand in this project, and that ranges from parks to streets to IT to real estate to legal, and that's just the start. But please know that we are extremely grateful for everyone's involvement and commitment to making this something special. I would like to recognize a few people especially. So Mitch Majeski, who you'll hear from here in a few minutes. So a few years ago, this community leader and pastor at Summit View Church reached out to me to talk about ideas for how they could get involved in the bicycling community. He had a vision for something much larger than what I came to the table with, which is ultimately what you see here tonight. So as we went throughout that process, every detail I thought might be a deal breaker was a non-issue. And this is true of everyone that we worked with at Summit View. Roger, Tim, Travis, their membership. So thank you all for your commitment toward creating a better community and for providing this vision, support, and the space for this project. I would also like to thank Rich Brubaker and his team from Traffic Operations. Unfortunately, Rich could not make it tonight, but as you may know, this project is not a typical part of Traffic Operations work plan. Yet regardless of the challenge or the fact that we were asking them to complete this project in what was a slightly busy construction season, I don't know if you all were aware of that, but Rich always found a way to not only complete the work, but go above and beyond to make it something better. And just so you all know, his team was out here in July and August when it was about 100 degrees, and I don't even want to know how hot it was on the asphalt, but for multiple days doing the striping and the signing that you see here today. So a huge thank you to Rich and his team. I'd also like to recognize and thank our core team, primarily FC Bikes, Safe Routes to School, and our communications department, and especially Tina Chandler, for her incredible work on the sign designs that you see here tonight, the signs that are behind me, the educational signs that you'll see throughout the course. And those include hand drawings, amazing hand drawings by Craig Powell. So before I hand the mic over to Mitch, I do want to identify 2 really unique partnerships that are part of this hub and contributing to what is the pilot nature of this project. So first of all, Nature in the City. Through this project, we were able to partner with the Nature in the City initiative to support native landscaping that you'll see throughout the islands when you have a chance to check it out. Not only is this a way for Nature in the City to test out what types of species are good for greening and creating habitat for butterflies, and of course only nice bees, in parking lots, but with their support, we're testing self-watering planter boxes as a way to protect bike lanes, with the idea that we'll better understand how these types of facilities and this infrastructure might be able to be used out on our streets. The other initiative is Art in Public Places. So I think you probably all have noticed that amazing work that's out there on the course. So I want to call attention and thank Renberg for her incredible work over the past few days. Literally, past few days, she was out here for many hours completing this awesome roundabout mural. And you'll also see a car as a unique feature that she did as well. Again, these are ideas that we hope could be potentially implemented in other places throughout the community. We'll definitely have to talk to our traffic operations folks about that. So what does the future hold? To begin with, this facility will not only be open to the public, but we will also host drop-in sessions with instructors for people of all ages and abilities to learn, to ride, and to refine their skills. This is a huge amenity for Safe Routes to School as well as FC Bikes, and we intend to host dozens of classes here on an annual basis, reaching everyone from youth to seniors. This project is already providing inspiration to communities around the country, so I won't be surprised if we start to see more of this type of project spreading nationwide due to Fort Collins' leadership. Lastly, I want to say that this to me is an exciting example of utilizing a parking lot as a community and an environmental amenity. I think it is likely there are other spaces like this all around Fort Collins that could be converted to something like this, potentially providing skills and community hubs within a biking and walking distance of every resident in town. So I'll just put that out there as a challenge. So with that, I want to again thank everyone who was involved, and I know a lot of you here tonight were involved in this project, so thank you so much, and thank you all for coming out, and I will hand it over to Mitch Majeski, consultant and former pastor with Summit View Church.
Thanks, Tessa. You exaggerated. This is not the result of a conversation with just me. This is a result of a tremendous partnership that was built over years and just dreaming, what could we do if we just took the shackles off of our old conventions on how we work together? Like, could a church work together with a city government to add value to its community? And people got excited about that idea, and that's what you see behind you. And it's just the start. I'm given to a little bit of hyperbole as a former pastor, so forgive me for a second, but I think the Skills Hub represents hope. The world around us is changing, especially at a large level. It's changing and becoming more polarized. That's obvious to everybody. Violently polarized at the largest scale. The good news about that, though, is at the smallest scale, at the local scale, at cities, people are developing a hunger to partner together and to collaborate, to overcome that polarization in their backyard. And at the local scale, people are busting the myth of the zero-sum game. You know, that idea that if I let you have a piece of something, then I'm diminished somehow, that there's just a limited pie, and we have to compete to hold on to our pieces of the pie. This is an example of why that is absolutely false. You see, the reality is that the pie can grow. It grows when we partner together. It grows when we collaborate together. There's more value, and this serves as an example of how collaboration and partnership between unlikely partners can actually increase the value of a city and its places. And so I do believe there's a lot of hope embedded in this place, not just in what it's going to provide as a service, but the idea in general that right here locally, we can add value to our community, that we don't have to compete anymore, we can partner, and beautiful things can come from that. So I want to introduce our city manager, who is a remarkable city manager. We are lucky to have a guy like Darren Atterbury leading our city because he gets to all of this. He values all of this and is fostering it wherever he can. And he believes in the capacity of the citizen of Fort Collins and not just its city government. He has a dream of Fort Collins becoming a world-class city, and he knows that's not going to happen just with specialists and experts. It's going to happen with all of us, contributing our capacities to the health and the welfare of this city. So anyway, he's more than just a city manager. He's a friend to a lot of us, and he's certainly a friend to me. So I just want to introduce Darren Atterbury.
I've followed a lot of acts, but following a pastor is very difficult. I'll just say that. So Tessa and Mitch, love you both. Appreciate your work. I just admire your professionalism and just the style in which the way they do their jobs. I see Ken Summers here. Ken is one of our city council members. Ken, would you raise your hand? Want to welcome you, Ken, and and I know the mayor is off at another event, and I'm not sure if we have any other council members here. I know Kristen Stevens was going to stop by. The reason why I mention Ken and mayor and city council is these kinds of projects take support from leadership, and they take vision. And the way I look at my role as city manager and working with now 26 council members in Fort Collins and 5 former and current mayors, it's really important to have a big vision. and to clarify that vision. And then it takes a lot to align resources to that vision and then to actually make it happen and execute. And so I remember my first conversation, the first time I was made aware of this type of facility was when I had a conversation with a gentleman by the name of Rick Price. And it was way back when. This, by the way, has been on our master plan since 2011 at least, I think, is what I was told. So, and Mark, I'm looking at you. Mark Jackson is from Planning, Development, Transportation, and Mark was on a big project called the MAX Bus Rapid Transit Corridor. That was a 15-year planning process. And Mark, good to see you upright, and that's all going well. But these visions, these big projects don't happen overnight. They happen with great partnerships. They happen with great leadership at the mayor and council level, and they happen with people like Tessa and all of my colleagues that are here, engineering and parks planning and FC Moves, and I think there are a couple of police officers here and finance and on and on and on. So it takes an amazing team to pull these things off, and I like what Mitch said. You know, it's this idea of local government being the solution to every problem in a community, those days are long gone. It takes partnerships, and it takes the private sector, it takes the non-for-profit sector, it takes the faith community, and so here we are. So one of the things I just want to, as I stand here and I look around in a 360, and I think about what a privilege it is to be part of a community like Fort Collins and to be really in the role that I get to be in, working with my colleagues. But if you look around, there's, as Tessa mentioned, there's Nature in the City. There's the Natural Areas program right behind us. Strongly supported program for decades with the Fort Collins voters. And then if you watch for a second, you'll see kids and families and commuters ride by on trails. And if you look a little bit further past our forestry department's work, you'll see the Rollmore Park, and then light and power, the electrons that take to power this thing, and transportation. And I've seen a fire truck go by, and a police car, and a bus, and it's complicated. Local services, building a world-class community is complicated. And the biggest part of it is, and I get to travel around the country and talk about, you know, people say, well, what's Fort Collins' secret sauce? You know, in my opinion, it's the support that we have from the community. And I don't want to be naive here. I know we can be a big challenge in people's personal lives, but I also believe that the mix between the support of the community and the performance of the local government and the collaborations that we have is what our secret sauce is. We have inherited an incredible amount of trust between you all in terms of citizens of the community and business owners and others and the local government, and we take that very seriously. We don't want to squander that. And so I want to end on a positive note. I'm so appreciative for that. At City Hall, we know that there's a great level of support from you to the local government, and we want to make sure we continue to be respectful of that. So hopefully when you look at this, you see something different that you're not going to see in many other communities around the country. When you look over here, I promise you're not going to see the kind of dedication to open space and trails and parks and on and on and on, and the professionalism of our police department, our firefighters, and our engineers and our planners, and on and on and on. So that's what I'm most proud of. That's what gives me goosebumps about this place. And so, Ken, I appreciate your partnership, appreciate the leadership we're getting from the mayor and council and the staff teams and our collaborators, and you as Fort Collins residents. You're really, it's a privilege to be able to work with you and serve you. So with that, do I turn it back to you? I turn it back to Jill. So Jill?
Thank you, Darren and Mitch and Tessa. I think the most exciting part everyone's been waiting for, we get to bring out the big scissors. So if we can have the speakers and then any council members who are here, we're going to cut the ribbon over here and have some photography. And then once we do that, I would like everybody to try the course. If you brought your bike, bring your bike out onto the course, or even just walk it and look at all the cool features, take a look at the roundabout. It's time to celebrate, but have fun. And thank you guys so much for coming.